Assalamualaikum and hello. In chapter 3, we are going to learn about mole concept, where in this chapter consists of 3 subtopics. The first one is Avogadros number and molar mass. The second subtopic, empirical formula and molecular formula. And last one is for concentration. So let's get into what we are going to focus for each of the subtopic. For the first subtopic, we are going to focus about the definition for mole in terms of mass of carbon-12 and also Avogadros constant. And we are going to relate the Avogadros number with the molar mass and molar volume with the condition at room temperature and also standard temperature and pressure. For the second subtopic, we are going to focus the first thing first about the definition for empirical and molecular formula. And the second one, we are going to do the calculation in form of table for empirical and molecular formula from the mass composition and also with the combustion data. And last subtopic, we are going to learn about molarity, density, and percentage by mass, and also about how to calculate the value for them with dilution as well. So please bear with me because in this chapter we are going to learn a whole lot of calculations. So get ready with taburam beside you when you do the exercise and also your calculator. Okay, so let's get into the first subtopic where at the end of this video, for the first part, we are going to focus about definition and how to relate Avogadro's number with molar mass. For molar volume, I'm going to focus in the next video. Okay, so let's get into the introduction for this chapter. So, it is more easier for us to group the object into defined units of measure. This is because for the purpose of easy calculations. For example, when you go to supermarket, you will take one packet of 8. So that 8 in one packet, we got units of 12. But in another simple defined unit of measure, we use units of 12 as 1 dozen. So that is how you will use this term ataupun konsep ini dalam term untuk chemistry, where in chemistry, chemists usually use the unit of mole untuk kita group atoms, molecules or other things into workable units. So maknanya you have to understand that mole is a counting unit. So bila dia counting unit, dia adalah unit yang mempunyai nilai yang boleh dikira based on amount of substance. And usually we use mole for the counting unit and it is abbreviated as mole. So let's get into the real definition where a mole is defined as the amount of substance which contains equal number. I emphasize here equal number of particles. And as I mentioned before, your particles can be atoms, molecules ataupun ions, as there are atoms in exactly 12 gram of carbon-12. So, itu adalah definition untuk mole. And as I said before, biasanya contoh one pair, kita akan faham nilai counting unit dia untuk 2 unit. For example, dozen, ia adalah counting for 12 units. So, let's get into the relationship between mole with the Avogadros constant. And for your information, 1 mole of carbon-12 atom exactly has a mass of 12 gram and contains 6.02 exponent 23 atoms. I hope you can memorize this value because you will always see and use this value in your calculation. And this value is very famous where we knew it as Avogadros Constant. Dan simbol dia kita akan tulis N besar dan lower subscript A besar. Okay, so this value is based on 1 mole. So sebab tu lah bila sometimes ada dalam awak buat research ataupun awak Google ke, awak memang akan nampak 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 per mole. So per mole maksudnya mole to the power of negative 1. Ini bermaksud nilai ini untuk 1 mole. So ini contohnya untuk 6.02 exponent 23 atoms. It based on 1 mole. Okay, so ini adalah based on 12 grams of carbon. Dan inilah yang saya nak relatekan dengan definition di sini. Okay, let's get into how you want to do the calculation. So, macam mana kita nak buat calculation? Awak kena faham, kita dah belajar number of moles. So, number of mole, macam mana relationship dia dengan number of particles, kita akan gunakan based on Avogadro's number. So, in order for you to calculate, you have to use this interchangeable formula where you can see here, number of mole will times with Na to get number of particles, or number of particles divided by Na to get the number of moles. So take a look carefully for your formula yang awak perlu gunakan berdasarkan information diberikan dalam soalan. Okay, I give you one example. So one example, for example, I got a statement said that 1 mole of hydrogen atoms H. So dalam 1 mole hydrogen atom H ni, apa yang kita boleh faham relate dengan mass dan Avogadro number. Okay, untuk mass kita tahu kita biasa gunakan unit gram. Dan kita tahu relative atomic mass untuk hydrogen adalah 1.0. But right now, I'm going to put the unit for mass which is gram. So, saya akan cakap in 1 mole of hydrogen atoms, I can have 1.00 gram. And bila saya nak relate in terms of Avogadro's number, saya akan relate dengan saya punya statement dekat atas sini, saya ada hydrogen atom. So, maknanya case saya untuk particles, particle saya sekarang adalah atoms. So which means I will also can say that 1 mole of hydrogen atoms also contains 6.02 exponent 23 H atoms. So sebab tu dekat belakang ni awak perlu be careful sama ada awak gunakan particles awak dalam terms atom ataupun ions ataupun molecules. So take a look carefully. Okay, saya give you one more example of statement. So, saya ada 1 mole of hydrogen molecules. So, sekarang dia dah jadi molecules. Dia bukan lagi atom. So, how you want to give the descriptions in terms of mass dan juga particles? So, ingat, particles kita boleh jadi atoms, boleh jadi ions, boleh jadi molecules. So, sekarang, case kita sekarang, kita ada hydrogen molecule. Tapi sebenarnya, untuk awak faham, kita kena faham molekul adalah terhasil apabila awak ada 2 atom yang sama ataupun yang berbeza. Dalam kes ini, awak ada 2 hydrogen atom yang sama. As you can see here, you got H2. So, ada 2 hydrogen atoms combined to produce hydrogen molecule. So, which means kalau saya tahu 1 mole of hydrogen atom ada 1 gram. So, mass sekarang akan darab dengan 2 lah. So, which means dia akan contains 2.00 gram. And sekarang saya nak buat dalam terms of number of particles, so kita akan relate dengan nilai Avogadros Constant. Memang nilai itu akan fix 6.02 exponent 23, but we have to take a look sekarang term yang awak nak guna, number of atom ataupun number of molecules ataupun number of ion. So sekarang awak faham, untuk hasilkan molekul kita kena ada atom. So kita fokus yang besar dahulu. Dalam kes ini dia bagi dalam bentuk molecules. So which means awak boleh cakap lah, dia akan contains 6.02 exponent 23 H2 molecules. So awak punya subjek dekat belakang ni, unit awak, bukan subjek, unit awak dekat belakang ni adalah H2 molecules. Dan nilai ini berdasarkan Avogadro's number. Now, saya nak be more specific in terms of atoms. So, boleh tak saya nak buat dalam in terms of atoms? Yes, you can. Because awak faham molekul terhasil daripada atoms yang combine chemically. So now, how many H atom yang kita ada? How many H atom? Kita ada 2 dekat sini. So which means formula dia H2 dia ada 2. So maknanya 2 mol. So we can say contains 2 moles of H atoms. So when you have 2 moles of H atoms, can you put the value based on Avogadro's number in terms of atoms? Yes. So which means 2 mol ni saya akan darab sahaja dengan Avogadro's number. So saya akan darab dengan 6.02 exponent 23. And in this case, awak akan dapatlah nilai dia in terms of Avogadro's number for H atoms. So, yang saya nak fokuskan dekat sini adalah perbezaan apabila awak ada number of molecules dengan number of atom. Beza untuk number of molecule kerana kita hanya ada satu hydrogen molecule. Tapi beza dengan number of atoms, kita ada 2 mole of H atom sebab ada 2 H atom dalam H2 molecule. So that's why we have to multiple by 2. Okay? So itu adalah benda yang awak kena be careful. Alright, so I will give you another example di mana kita akan gunakan kefahaman antara relationship between number of moles with the number of particles. Dan relationship ini saya guna basic sahaja based on 1 mole. Okay, dan ingat 1 mole is equals to 6.02 exponent 23 particles. So now, let's get into the first example. Saya ada 1 mole of chlorine atom. So 1 mole of chlorine atom. What is the number of chlorine atoms? Okay, listen carefully. I use number of chlorine atoms. So when I say number of, it means that you have to compare with Avogadro's constant. And here is 1 mole. So of course, the value for number of chlorine atoms will be 6.02 exponent 23. Dia fix. Kalau mol awak berubah, 1.0 mol ni nilai dia berubah, automatically number of chlorine atom here akan berubah. Okay, so now I got 1 mole of chlorine atom. In terms of mass, how to get the value? Di sini kita akan lihat based on relative atomic mass yang kita ada dalam RAM table. Dan kita hanya tambah unit in terms of mass, ada gram lah unit dekat belakang. So for 1 mole of chlorine atom, the mass is 35.5 gram. So settle, this is for chlorine atom, the basic one. Now kita go in terms of molecule. So I got 1 mole of chlorine molecule. So chlorine atom berbeza dengan chlorine molecule sebab molecules adalah dihasilkan daripada atoms yang sama ataupun different. So dalam kes ini, untuk awak lebih senang nampak ataupun lebih senang untuk lihat, you write down the chemical formula. So for chlorine molecules, the chemical formula is Cl2. So as you can see here, how many chlorine atoms in Cl molecules? You got 2 chlorine atoms. So let's get into what I asked you here. I want to get the number of chlorine molecules. So beza dekat atas ni, ini adalah number of chlorine atoms. Saya highlight atoms. Now I want in terms of number of chlorine molecules. So, number of mole dia masih lagi 1. So, automatically dia tak akan ubah apa-apa. So, the value stay as it is, 6.02 exponent 23. But, when you see the mass dia akan berubah. Why? Because the chemical formula here is Cl2. Kalau chlorine atom, dia adalah Cl sahaja, Cl atom. So that's why, as you can see here, saya tunjuk picture Cl atom dengan Cl molecule, 2 atom dalam 1 molekul ni. So, what will happen to the mass? Mass untuk 1 mole of chlorine atom adalah 35.5. So, bila saya nak dapatkan untuk 2 chlorine atom dalam chlorine molecule adalah 71.1. Awak darab sahaja 2. And, right now, I'm being more specific about in terms of number of chlorine atoms. Sekarang yang soalan ketiga ni saya tanya number of chlorine atoms. So, as I mentioned before, based on the formula you got 2 atoms of chlorine in chlorine molecule. So, automatically, awak akan darablah dengan Avogadro sebanyak 2. So, this is your the way how your work and calculation. Macam mana yang awak akan tunjuk bila saya tanya dalam soalan subjektif. Tapi, saya harap awak tulis final answer lah. Janganlah sekadar tinggalkan macam ni. Darab 2 macam ni. Final answer. So, tolong tulis final answer. This is just explanation. Okay, now, go to next example. I got 1 mole of NH3 and NH3 masih lagi molekul, tapi dia dihasilkan daripada atom yang berbeza. So if I want to ask you how to calculate the number of NH3 molecules, so how to do that? The mole still the same, 1 mole. So automatically the number of molecule stay as it is when you write the value for Avogadro Constant, 6.02 exponent 23. And the next one, saya tanya number of atoms. Be careful. So, number of atoms adalah bilangan atoms yang ada dalam NH3. As you can see here, you got 1 nitrogen atom and you got 3 hydrogen atoms. So, bila total up, awak akan dapat 4. So, maknanya, bila awak compare in terms of number of atoms, your Avogadros constant must multiply by 4. Okay, let's be more specific lagi. Saya nak in terms of number of n atom. So, number of n atom. How to do that? N atom, kita hanya ada berapa dalam NH3? Kita hanya ada 1 sahaja. So, automatically, nilai untuk number of n atom masih lagi sama seperti Avogadros constant sebab dia darab dengan 1 sahaja. But, if I ask you more specifically, number of H atom. So, number of H atom, as you can see here, we got 3 hydrogen atoms in NH3. So, which means your Avogadros constant must be multiplied by 3. Dan ingat, jawapan this one dengan this one, tolong letak dalam final answer. Ini just explanation untuk awak lebih clear. So, I hope you understand the relationship between mole with the number of particles. The number of particles boleh jadi dalam in terms of molecules, atoms, or ions. Alright everybody, so I will stop the video until here and we will continue for the next page in the next video. Thanks for watching.